When local growers put great food on Tennessee tables, that's living green. Tonight on Live Green Tennessee, we travel to River Ridge Farms, where the owners, after 30 years away, return to the farm where they're now supplying sustainably raised meat and eggs to East Tennessee. We'll visit the recently opened West Tennessee solar farm that will provide alternative energy as well as educate the area. And we see how one couple's love story led them back to Alan Brooke Farm. All this and more on Live Green Tennessee, coming up next.
This program is brought to you in part by...
Behind every Pick Tennessee Products logo is a Tennessee farmer who brings you fresh, local food grown with the kind of pride that gets handed down through generations. From now through fall, you can find Tennessee fruits and vegetables on farms and at farmers markets near you. Find your Tennessee farmers at picktnproducts.org.
Hi, I'm Kelly Swallows, the race director for WCTE TV's Live Green Tennessee 5K race. It will begin and end right here in Cookeville, Tennessee at Dogwood Park. The race is on Saturday, June 23rd, starting at 7:30 a.m. Whether you're a competitive jogger, walker, or want to bring the whole family and your strollers, come one, come all. We invite you to join us to support the Live Green initiative and supporting local agriculture. We'll see you there.
Funding for this program was provided in part by the United States Department of Agriculture. Connecting the grower to the buyer, the country to the city, and smart shopping with a healthy lifestyle. It's Live Green Tennessee.
Hello, I'm Melinda Kiefer, and I'm proud to bring you stories from across our great state on Live Green Tennessee. After spending 30 years in the military, Dave and Verlinda Waters returned to 10 Mile to carry on the tradition of farming by sustainably raising cows, chickens, pigs, and goats on the same land cultivated by their parents and grandparents. In this story brought to us by East Tennessee Public Television's Chris Smith, we see how River Ridge Farm supplies meat and eggs to consumers and restaurants from Chattanooga to Knoxville, all with an eye on soil enhancement and preservation to produce nutrient-dense food.
I'm Dave Waters, River Ridge Farms in Meigs County, Tennessee. I was born and raised in Meigs County. I attended Meigs County High School. I was raised on a family farm. I got up and milked cows before going to school and took care of the pigs. We graduated from high school in 1970. I couldn't get a student deferment, so I signed up for ROTC and went to the University of Tennessee. December of '74, commissioned in the infantry in the Army and had an undergraduate degree in animal husbandry. 22 years later, I found myself still in the Army, but they wanted to move me again. We were in Northern Virginia, so I retired and became a contractor at the Pentagon. During that time, my wife I'd lost my dad to prostate cancer. My wife had colon cancer, and I really started looking around the farm when we go back after my dad had stopped farming and seeing how wildlife was coming back and cane on the riverbank. Things were changing, and at the same time my son was selling magazine subscriptions, and we got a New Farm magazine which talked about sustainable organic farming. So we just started reading and learning more and decided that I'd had all the bureaucracy that I wanted to deal with, and it was time to come home and learn how to farm again and bring some old farms back to organic, sustainable farming practices. We're located in two places. This farm is 25 acres for Linda's grandfather's old farm, and then we have another farm of 150 acres in Decatur on the Tennessee River. And that farm we did a conservation easement on last year, and we were able to, with that in place, then we were able to purchase a neighboring 150-acre farm. So we have 300 acres on the river to work. Coming back and starting farming up, I thought I knew a little We're learning more and more every day. I knew we need to be growing better quality food, but I didn't realize how important the soil was in the beginning and how rich the soil is in microbes and bacteria and that actually feed the plant, that produce the fruit, vegetables that we eat, the grass that the cows consume. The fencing was pretty much shot, and us trying to farm or do cattle without adequate fencing is just one challenge after another. It is hard, very difficult to get an old farm back, bringing back up and working. What we do here at River Ridge, here at the home place, we have our laying hens, and we have them out on pasture year-round. They get moved to fresh pasture about every 4 to 5 days. We've got a portable egg mobile with a roost in it, and that gets moved every 2 days to keep manure distributed. We have a couple of milk cows here. We have our sows and a boar here. And we do broilers, and we have those, we normally do spring and then early fall. And those we keep in, we start them out in a brooder, and then at 3 to 4 weeks we move them to pasture, and they get moved twice a day while they're out on pasture. And the broilers get certified organic feed. And then at the river property, we have beef cattle and more pigs, and we've added goats to our operation. On our beef cattle, we do grass finished beef. Finished cattle on grass is a challenge. You got to have some pretty good grass, and we're still working to get our grass quality up. And we're finding that this rotational grazing or mob grazing, where you keep the animals in a smaller space for 24 hours, 48 hours, and then move them to new grass. It mimics the way the buffalo roam the prairie. We can really bring the soil back and bring the grass back by using high density grazing, where we concentrate the animals, eat it, and we let it rest for 3 to 6 months before we bring the animals back. You leave more, there's more leaf area there to absorb the sun, to put nutrients into the soil. And when you move the cows in, the grass is high, so you don't eat it all. They trample some down, so that litter slowly becomes humus and breaks down. Our goal is to pretty much direct market. We do the Market Square Farmers Market in Knoxville. We've been doing that since, I don't know, 2005, I guess. And I go to Chattanooga on Wednesdays to a farmer's market. And then we do some to restaurants. And in Knoxville, we have Just Ripe. I've known Kristen for years, and Charlotte, and they carry our eggs and meat. And Three Rivers Market carries some of our meats. I think small farms is how we're going to save America, because we got the large farms, big equipment, using lots and lots of synthetic fertilizers and chemicals. We're just killing our soils. We're turning America into a big desert just because we're depleting all the life out of the soil. The future lies in small farms, and the farm must have a community of consumers that agree with what the farm is doing and willing to support that farm, and we kind of work as a community to get the farms back to a sustainable living and get people some nutrient-dense food that's good for them.
Solar energy is making its mark on West Tennessee in a big way, 5 megawatts to be exact. A true statewide effort, the new West Tennessee Solar Farm, located in Stanton, recently had its ribbon cutting. With 6,400 residents in Tennessee currently employed in solar-related industries, entities like the U.S. Department of Energy, TVA, and the University of Tennessee, and many others, saw the creation of this farm as a way to not only employ, but also educate. Sitting on 25 acres, the solar farm is encouraging national renewable energy interests and investments in Tennessee while reducing greenhouse gas emission, increasing renewable energy generation, and creating jobs. Emily Osment of WJLT brings us more.
We're here today in Stanton, Tennessee, in Haywood County. We had the ribbon cutting ceremony for the largest solar array in the state of Tennessee, which is owned and operated by the University of Tennessee. It will produce 5 megawatts of power, which will roughly power about 500 homes. And the project will also feature an information and welcome center that will be built by the Tennessee Department of Transportation that will allow public visitors to come and learn more about solar energy and clean energy technology. This facility here is going to not only demonstrate the deployment of solar power in Tennessee by sending 5 megawatts of power to the TVA grid, but it's also going to educate the public about solar power.
The solar farm will create job opportunities in several different sectors. There's something that we call the solar value chain. That's the manufacturer, the installer, the wholesaler. All of these will profit from the solar industry. There are also jobs that are directly related to maintaining a solar farm like this, jobs that are developed through building solar farms like this. So as Tennessee becomes more and more recognized as a good place to develop solar energy, there'll be more opportunities to create more jobs. Also, secondary is most companies that want to relocate into your state are going to be looking for green energy. And the more green energy we have, the stronger the perception of Tennessee's a green state, the better our chances of recruiting companies that will bring jobs in. So these jobs may be totally unrelated to the solar energy, but occur because of the solar industry. One of the expected outcomes from the solar farm is to demonstrate that Tennessee can be a solar state. In other words, that we can produce power from solar, we can produce electricity from solar panels and create electricity for homes. It's not just the Southwest. We can do it here in Tennessee and throughout the Southeast, and it will be a driver of the economy.
And we really think that the opportunity to do education, discovery, and connecting with this center is very, very important, not only to the local community and area, but also to the University of Tennessee and its mission. This project is very, very important. We educate, we discover, and we connect. And all 3 of those components are right here at the solar farm. That's our job. We'll stick to that. And we have to be in the business of providing solutions, as I said earlier, that make a difference in your lives and lives of the citizens of Tennessee, beyond for our nation and the world. The West Tennessee Solar Farm is a fulfillment of that mission in every sense of the way. We're proud to educate citizens on solar energy technology, proud to find better ways to collect solar energy and to provide helpful solutions that grow our ability in solar energy and the solar energy industry.
It's important that we do this because, make no mistake, we are in a battle for the future. So the question presented is, are we in this game to seed international leadership, to seed the future, to seed jobs that are going to be created out of clean energy to others? Or are we going to play to win? That's a question. Are we going to play to win? Yeah. All right. Where's the winning going to begin? Here. Where? There. With those panels, okay? We are proud at the Department of Energy to have been your partners. Partners. We are merely the stewards of you all. We just have to remember that we are in a fight. And it's a good fight. Americans have never shrunk from it. We're going to fight to win. And it's not winning over an adversary, it's about winning the future. I couldn't be more pleased on behalf of Secretary Chu and President Obama than to be right here with you all here today and to salute you and to thank you for all you've done to make this great opportunity a great reality. You know what they say, the longest journey begins with a single step, okay? And we have to demonstrate that we can do this. This is big, but things can get even bigger than this. We got to take things in a methodical way. We start with the technology, we start with the panels, we assemble the units, we get the inverters, we get the balance system, and it's only by doing this over and over again that we can squeeze out the cost, drive down the cost per watt of electricity to the point where solar can compete with conventional power. And you have to do that step by step, building facility by facility, and now you've got the biggest one in the whole state, and it's a very important part of that whole progression.
Putting in solar projects is a lot like manufacturing without a roof. If you think about it, there are thousands and tens of thousands of pieces that are required to put together a solar project of this size. And so the manpower required to do that comes from the local environment. So as we operate bulldozers to clear the site and move the dirt, as we operate the machinery to then put the foundations in, and then as later come and build the racking systems or the foundations to support the panels, all that's done really by physical labor. Out of the 21,000 panels at this site, each of one of those is handled by 2 people. So there are actually 41,000, I guess, person movements to set the panels in place. There are many of us that have jobs that rely on clean energy, and we're not out there talking about it. We touch, probably there are hundreds of people that touch this project, and this is one project of many solar projects that have been built in the state. So I would say the most important thing is for people to talk to their politicians, their local leaders, to tell the story, the great story that renewable energy is bringing to their environment.
Alan Brooke is a 120-acre family farm in Spring Hill, Tennessee. It's owned by husband and wife team Daniel and Stephanie Allen. These high school sweethearts were separated after graduation but found each other 10 years later and were married a few weeks afterward at Alan Brooke. Together they use natural organic farming methods to grow vegetables, fruits, and flowers. They have embraced their community as their extended family and use their passion for organic farming to provide love and nourishment to people's lives. WCTE's Steve Hobbs tells us how Alan Brooke Farm's products are grown not only with love, but with the intention that will nourish the bodies and hearts of those who share in their bounty.
Well, we met, I guess I was 16, and I was working at the local Kroger's in oddly enough, the produce section of the grocery store. Stephanie came in with her mom, and I was working there with my buddy, and I got him to, that he knew her, and I thought she was real pretty, so I got him to call and get her phone number for me and ask if I could call her.
So we kind of dated on and off through high school and then college. I actually ended up moving to Atlanta to go to art school, and about the time that I was moving to Atlanta, Daniel got called up to New York to be a fashion model. So he would, anytime he would have to go anywhere, they would book him a flight through Atlanta, and he would come by and see me. And so I guess eventually we just kind of lost touch. He got really busy in Europe, and I was in art school, and
lives just kind of drifted apart. And then fast forward 10 years, she met up with some of my sisters at an event. She was, were you cheering?
Yeah, it was a charity event to raise money for the Franklin Theater, and I was heading up to get on stage to make some announcements, and ran into Daniel's 2 younger sisters and kind of hugged their neck, and oh my goodness, it's been years. And right as we hugged, the girl from the local social pages came by and asked if she could take a picture. And so I was standing between Margaret, and smiled for the camera and said, "Hey, show that to your brother, ha ha ha." And Margaret, his youngest sister, kind of, for lack of better words, bird dogged me the rest of the night. Are you single? Daniel's home, he's on the farm.
Yeah, and then the next night we were having like a family birthday, because my family always gets together for everybody's birthday and has a big dinner. But she was kind of bird dogging me the whole night. I ran into Stephanie, I saw her, and she gave me her number, and I'd always like just firmly believed in my head. I was like, I'll never get married, I'll never get married. And so I didn't call for like 6 weeks because I knew that if I did, we'd get married. And so I had to like adjust in my head for a minute because I knew it was going to happen, you know. And so then I finally called and we hung out one time, and then like 3 weeks later we got married across the road.
Here on the farm.
Here on the farm at a big old oak tree over there.
So we essentially eloped to the other side of the farm. We were growing food for ourselves, and we always would plant a few extra rows for friends and family. And then that first year in 2010, and then even more so last spring, we've just had such a huge demand for it. Our friends and family just couldn't really get enough, and we kind of thought, well, what, you know, maybe people really want this. And so I said, Daniel, let's get in the car, and I drove him to Whole Foods and said, hey, people really, look at all these people going crazy for local produce, and, you know, took him to the farmer's market and said, you know, we can do this. You know, we call these little plants our plant babies, and naturally after we got married, we kind of wanted to start a family of our own, and through different health reasons on my part, we realized that that wouldn't be, you know, a possibility for us to start a traditional family. So we decided to start what we call our family. Yeah. And all of our CSA members are a part of our family.
Yeah, and it's a great way for the local community to you know, support a farm and to be a part of a eating community, you know, that's bringing life to the farm with their money and their taking of the foods, you know. And it's also such a good deal for the farmer themselves because we know that everything that we've got out there, it's got a home to go to.
He's so fortunate. I mean, so many people in our generation didn't get that knowledge, didn't learn about, you know, I know I didn't. My mom always had herbs and tomatoes in the backyard, but I've always told Daniel how fortunate he is that he learned, you know, I guess, to farm kind of the old-timey way. He didn't learn conventional farming methods. He learned essentially organic farming growing up, and it's second nature to him.
There's a life cycle to things, you know, so as many varieties of stuff as possible. We try to, you know, grow the seed from it and save the seed. That way we can sustain our own seed bank and not have to be reliant upon, you know, buying seeds every year. That's kind of how we do it. There's been lots of vegetables that have been passed down from my father, who's given me lots. He's always been a big-time seed saver, and we broke into the vaults and we're starting some, and we're actually going to grow seed on a bunch of different heirloom kind of things. And so that's one way we kind of sustain ourselves.
And we found that the heirloom seeds learn to thrive here. They adapt themselves, and they've learned over the, you know, past several generations of seeds from your grandfather and your great-grandmother and your dad.
To grow in these soils.
Yeah, they learn to thrive in our local soil and on our farm.
But the farm makes all its own fertilizer via the cattle that live on the farm, and I feed them out hay that was grown on the farm in the wintertime, and they stand around rings and eat it, and I collect their manure and put it up in big piles and compost it, and then put it out on the gardens and
kind of compost tea.
Yeah, and put compost tea in the crops from those. So all the fertility comes from this farm. And then, like, my smart wife is, you know, started researching the CSA thing because we hadn't heard of it a couple years ago, and you know, all of the things that I've just grown up doing my whole life, she figured out a way that it could be our job now, and I'm very happy.
We so encourage any farmers out there to, you know, start their own CSA. It's really fulfilling and a lot of fun. And all of our CSA members are a part of our family, and all of our animals and our critters, you know, with pigs and cattle and cats and dogs.
And all the plants and
all the plants.
All the everything growing out here.
They're our family. So I think God has something different in store for everybody, and this is our life. We love it.
We hope you'll join us next time when we take a look at handcrafted beers with Calf-Killer Brewing Company in Sparta, find out how Shelby Farms Park is teaching students about food and nutrition, and we travel to Organicism's farms at the foothills of the Great Smoky Mountains. All this next on Live Green Tennessee, where we bring you more news about farmers and businesses who are making the move to eating fresh while making living green possible for us all. you'd like more information about Live Green Tennessee, please visit our website at livegreentv.org, where you'll find everything from healthy recipes to past episodes and much more.
This program is brought to you in part by
Behind every Pick Tennessee Products logo is a Tennessee farmer who brings you fresh, local food grown with the kind of pride that gets handed down through generations. From now through fall, you can find Tennessee fruits and vegetables on farms and at farmers markets near you. Find your Tennessee farmers at picktnproducts.org.
Hi, I'm Kelly Swallows, the race director for WCTE TV's Live Green Tennessee 5K race. It will begin and end right here in Cookeville, Tennessee at Dogwood Park. The race is on Saturday, June 23rd, starting at 7:30 a.m. Whether you're a competitive jogger, walker, or want to bring the whole family and your strollers, come one, come all. We invite you to join us to support the Live Green initiative and supporting local agriculture. We'll see you there.
Funding for this program was provided in part by the United States Department of Agriculture and by the generous support of the Corporation for Public Broadcasting.